2013, so about 11 years old. And just recently, for the first time, I'm going to take these glasses off. They're shining in the lights. For the first time, I committed completely to clean day carnivore, and I added a 5-day split for my weightlifting. And I just want to report that it was almost miraculous. It took care of my cravings, amazing energy, and the pounds, the leanness I wanted, the pounds just released and getting leaner and stronger. So here's what was happening before. Exactly 1 year ago, I was trying to add back above ground vegetables and low sugar fruits to my eating plan. So more keto, less carnivore. Just, wanted more flexibility. We were starting to grow some more fruits and vegetables in our garden. I just wanted to see if it would work. And I got up to 10 pounds heavier than I am right now. So over the past year, even though I'm very small, I'm like 5'1" when I wake up in the morning. I'm probably really only 5 feet tall. So I'm a very small person. And so 10 pounds on somebody my size is significant. A lot of my clothes weren't fitting right. And it wasn't worth it to me. I was trying to, fit in a little bit better. So trying to fit into society kept me from fitting into my clothes. So clean carnivore. Now, even when I took out the vegetables I was eating and I took out the low sugar fruits, I still didn't take out things like cheese, stevia. I was having a dessert that I make pretty much every day. And it wasn't clean carnivore. It was cream cheese and heavy cream and stevia and plain cocoa. But I thought it was working for me, and it got me down to a pretty good weight. But it wasn't until about 8 weeks ago I decided, I've never done this. I really want to get those last few pounds off that will allow everything in my closet to fit. And so this dress is a 0 from 2013. I wanted to be able to fit into everything. And what I noticed is when I went clean carnivore, that means I took out the cheeses, I took out the cocoa, goodbye to most of the stevia. I do have a little bit in my coffee, so I am still having some coffee. I'm going to put my glasses on if anybody has any questions. But as clean as I've ever been. So what was my clean carnivore? So it was beef, bacon, butter, eggs. Yeah, beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And, ground beef, New York steaks, all different kinds of beef. But that's what it was. And that's what everybody kept telling me. People talk about that, the beef, butter, bacon, and maybe eggs. And I was like, finally, I'm just going to try it. So I did try it, and I was amazed that it worked. Now, here's how it went. On day 1, I was missing my dessert, my safe keto dessert. And I just had to tell myself, I was like, no, there's plenty of steak here. There's plenty of eggs here. If you're not hungry for steak, you're not hungry. Drink a glass of water, eat some of that, and it'll get easier. So by day 2, it was significantly easier. Like the craving that dessert was going away. By day 3, it was gone. And then this shocked me. I sat down to breakfast yesterday morning, and I had made ground Kobe beef or Wagyu beef and 6 eggs and bacon, and I could not finish my first meal. I usually eat 2 meals a day, and then I have like emergency bacon and emergency meat if I need something to eat later in the day. I couldn't finish my meal. I was so full. And I'm like, I am an overeater since I was like 6 years old, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm in the middle of this meal and I can't finish it. So what I did, I put it on a plate, I set it aside, and I was like, oh, I'll go back and I'll have it later. And it was fabulous because I did have it later, got a little bit, had another meal. And then it was really interesting because I'm doing this 5-day split, right? So I got hungry at about 6:30 and I was like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, you're a carnivore, have some more meat. And I did. I got up this morning and I was at the lowest weight. I know that I haven't been this light, this lean since 2016 when I was doing the Luis Villaseñor's Keto Gains program, which was, adequate protein, less fat, and serious weightlifting 5 days a week. So I've gone back to the 5-day split. And I think the most important thing that, anybody who's watching this channel, who sees this, and whether you're keto or carnivore or whatever you're doing, low sugar, whatever it is, especially if you're 60, because I just turned 60 at the end of last month, it takes extra techniques in order to build and maintain lean muscle at age 60. And not only that, but the muscle and the muscle building techniques are essential for managing insulin sensitivity. And I just have to say, insulin sensitivity is my superpower. And I hope insulin sensitivity is your superpower too, because when I'm doing the 5-day split and I'm eating clean carnivore, and I've gotten over the little extras I was eating, my appetite is so easy to satisfy, easy and simple. And it's interesting because I was a personal trainer. I'm still on a lot of lists that I get a lot of medical literature and a lot of talk about studies. And a lot of the doctors who are prescribing the Ozempic and the semaglutide, they're starting to worry about what they're seeing in their patients who are taking it. Number one, sarcopenia, they're starting to lose muscle. But number two, they're talking about the fact that in general, they don't have cravings for anything. Their desires to not just overeat, but their desires to, overspend and do all kinds of different things are becoming less. And they're starting to get worried. They're like, oh my goodness, are these people not enjoying life anymore? And I'm here to tell you that, yes, we are enjoying life. Just because I am less interested in shopping, I'm less interested in cosmetics, I'm driving the same car that I was driving back in 2015, so much about going carnivore. It's not just my craving for food, it's reducing my craving to consume in general. And I would much rather create. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera a little bit. So there's my birthday present. And that's a Stratocaster player. And so that is the entry level of Stratocaster. And now I'm really working on getting better at electric guitar. I'm learning piano, ukulele, acoustic guitar. And so this is what I care about. Yes, it's a thing, but I would much rather get a guitar that helps me to be creative than be out buying new clothes or taking trips or things like that. So that's it. Clean carnivore, 5-day split. My 5-day split is legs, then chest, then back, then shoulders, then arms. And that's my 5-day split. So if you're interested in more weightlifting, I think that's the way to go. All right, be well, eat for yourself. Oh, I'm 60. I turned 60 on the end of April. And but my clothes are all from my early 50s or my late 40s, because I just don't really care about buying more clothes, especially now that these fit. My favorite food, it's the beef, it's the steak, any kind of beef. I don't care what cut, I'll do something with it. My second favorite is bacon, because you put bacon with anything and it's just wonderful. And then of course, number 3 is eggs. We have chickens, we raise chickens, and I love our own chicken eggs. Although I do have to supplement, I do have to go out and buy any spices on your meat. In terms of what's allowed, you know what? Here's what happens. I just put salt on my meat. Now, I always use sea salt, but confession, I do sometimes use iodized sea salt because I am 60. I'm not really concerned about my thyroid. I've never had thyroid problems, but I do know that, that the iodine does help the thyroid, and so I do have iodized sea salt. And so there are other people who have even higher expertise than I do. So that's my carnivore seasoning is salt. I do sometimes put on pepper. Yeah, I think I will sometimes add pepper, but I'm not even using, I used to use consistently garlic, turmeric, cumin, onion powder, and I find that they aren't necessary. The biggest thing for me in terms of how I'm seasoning and what I'm eating and my favorite foods is this balance between, I love all these foods, I like these foods, but I don't want to stimulate my appetite. I do not want to make myself hungry. And so by sticking to, the BBBs people talk about in carnivore, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for me, because eggs are, they're inexpensive, they're easy to cook. That's just enough variety. I have a saying, for me, too much variety disrupts my satiety. So I don't want it to be that I don't enjoy what I'm eating. I look forward to getting up and eating, but I don't want so much variety that it stimulates my appetite. And in terms of spices on my meal, what's allowed, I know that everybody talks about, the Celtic sea salt and the pink sea salts. I don't use it because, there is one other thing I use. I do have a tablespoon of Bragg's apple cider vinegar in water every morning, which keeps my leg cramps away. I think it helps to keep me regular, and I've just been using it for a long time and it really works. I used to have lemon juice with it as well, but I took the lemon juice out and I found that I don't need it. Other people use something called LMNT, which is magnesium, and it's a supplement that makes sure that they get their electrolytes and that they don't get leg cramps. That's why I take the apple cider vinegar every morning, just a tablespoon in water, because that helps to keep those away. And, in terms of what's allowed, it's so interesting, the different philosophies on carnivore that, some people even say that honey is carnivore, it's made by an animal. My point of view is it's whatever. Here's one. This is great. Best tip. And this is from Dr. Siwis, who's the carbohydrate addiction doc. He showed a glass of water, and he said that the food that you eat should satisfy your appetite the way that a glass of water quenches your thirst. So the beef, the butter, the bacon, the eggs, these are all things that totally satisfy my appetite the way that water quenches my thirst. Probably the only thing might be a little bit of, maybe a little bit of caution with the bacon, but it's not that big of a deal. I have adequate bacon. I have enough to have a little bit of bacon with, each meal, usually 2 meals, and then I reserve for emergencies. I always have enough for emergencies because I do find that if I get hungry out of bounds, which rarely happens, I've got to have either beef available or some bacon or some eggs cooked and ready to go. Or even at one point I was like, boy, I am hungry. I need some meat. And there was a can of crab in the cupboard. I rinsed it to make sure that there weren't any additives on it. I rinsed it really well and I ate that can of crab and everything was good. So I just want to say it's amazing. This stuff really works. I was, clean carnivores. Like, I don't know if I want to go that far, but I finally did. And I'm so glad I did. And then the other thing is that 5-day split doesn't take too long. It's not too hard. And it just, it keeps my insulin sensitivity really, really strong. So speaking of which, I'm off to the kitchen. I've got a clean carnivore meal waiting for me and then going to enjoy the rest of my afternoon. All right, everybody, be well. I used to just say, eat for yourself, but now I say, eat and let eat. All right, take care, everybody.